Hello and welcome everybody to this latest and special episode of the Sparkr Podcast, where I usually unveil the mindsets, tactics and opinions of great minds in business, innovation, creativity and leadership. I said this is a special episode because it's what I call an executive briefing. It's a new series I started on the blog, and I thought, because it got some traction, why not do a podcast audio episode of that executive briefing? And this briefing will be all about the new technology of 5G, a new connectivity standard that will change everything. Since this is a new format, I'd be happy to hear from you guys what you think of it, and if you would like to hear more of those kinds of executive briefings in the future. You can reach out to me on the blog, which is sparkr.ch/blog. That's sparkr.ch/blog. And after listening to this episode, make sure to subscribe to the Sparkr Podcast and listen to the other episodes where I unveil the mindsets, tactics and opinions of great people, very interesting people from all over the world. These are, for example, a unicorn investor that talks about how he assesses risks and startups, or a former Apple marketing expert that talks about storytelling, or, for example, the co-founder of legendary Wired magazine about business transformation and lifelong learning, or one of my favorite episodes with Chacho, the chief creative director from a leading creative agency, where we talk about how to build, hire and enable creative teams. Without further ado, I hope you enjoy this special episode of the Sparkr Podcast, the executive briefing about 5G. 5G. Why it will change everything and why you should know about it. You can expect 5G to pop up more and more in public discussions in 2019. Why? Because it will change everything. But what is 5G? And why will it be so significant in the future? 5G is the fifth generation of a mobile connectivity standard. This standard is about speed, connectivity, and reliability features of the mobile network. If you use a smartphone today, you are most likely using a 4G standard. In the early days of the iPhone, 3G was introduced, and before that we had 1G and 2G. Roughly speaking, 1G allowed for phone calls to be made, 2G for text messages to be sent, 3G for mobile internet, 4G for a faster mobile internet, and 5G will blow everybody's mind, metaphorically speaking. So why is 5G a big deal, you might ask? 5G is not only incrementally faster, it is way, way faster. You can expect 5G to be 100 times, I say that again, 100 times faster than your current 4G connection, while only using 1,000 times less energy per data unit transmitted. For the average consumer today, this would mean that you have a super high definition 8K Netflix movie downloaded in a second, while using less precious battery life of your smartphone. To many, this might sound like nothing even close to a game changer. And they are right, it's not. The crazy potential of 5G will be revealed with uncountable, completely new applications and services that are not yet invented. So 5G will be the beginning of a new economy. A report by IHS Markit found that, and I quote, 5G has the potential to unlock up to $12.3 trillion of revenue across a broad range of industries. To put this in a perspective, that revenue figure is nearly equivalent to total US consumer spending in 2016, and more than the combined spending of China, Japan, France, Germany, and the UK. This revenue also represents 4.6% of all global real output, estimated in 2035. End quote. What services and applications will generate this kind of revenue, you might ask? I quote again. By 2020, analysts estimate that there will be more than 20 billion installed Internet of Things devices around the world, generating massive amounts of data. End quote. Those Internet of Things devices will create a new layer on top of our economy and change the way we live, work, manufacture, travel, educate ourselves, take care of our health, and more. So 5G will be a force for innovation. Remember the connected self-driving cars everybody's talking about? You need 5G for that to work on a mainstream scale. By enabling these kind of groundbreaking innovations, the 5G technology will bring along a similar shift to consumer behavior and expectations as the smartphone did. And you all know that this is a big deal. The connected self-driving car example is also useful to illustrate another breakthrough of the 5G technology. I assume you would want your connected self-driving car to react to traffic conditions instantly, without any delay, in real time. Because, obviously, that can make the difference between having an accident or not, maybe even between life and death. We humans have accidents to some extent because we need to process and react to what is happening on the street, and humans have an average reaction time of about 200 milliseconds. That is short. But you know what is really short? 1 millisecond. And that's what 5G can achieve, a fascinatingly low latency of 1 millisecond. And with that, the virtual becomes reality. What these low latency and high speeds of 5G connectivity mean is that real-time, or in quote, real interactions can technically be replaced with virtual ones altogether. And that is very significant. Imagine someone you love needs to undergo a critical surgery, and the best doctor for that is at the other end of the world. In a world not too far away in the future with technologies like 5G and high-precision surgery robots, this world-class doctor can perform the surgery your loved one needs from the other end of the world by virtually directing surgery robots to do exactly what he wants. The doctor sees how his patient is doing at the other end of the world in real time. The actions of the doctor are transmitted across the globe to the robot in real time. Also, collaborating with other medical professionals could happen virtually in real time. It would be like the patient and the doctor are in the same room. In other words, 5G is the network on top of which a real virtual reality can and will be built. Social gaming, augmented reality headsets, smart manufacturing, education, collaboration in the workplace, and much more will be affected. I quote, 5G will become the underlying fabric of an entire ecosystem of fully connected, intelligent sensors and devices, capable of overhauling economic and business policies and further blurring geographical and cultural borders. End quote. So is 5G inevitable, and when will it come? It seems like 5G is inevitable, and it's just a question of when it will become mainstream. Surveys indicate that we can expect a working 5G network in 2020. But all the applications that will be built on these 5G networks will take some time to mature. I quote, "The United States and China are especially advanced in this domain, with China currently enjoying the world's biggest 5G market. Switzerland appears to be more or less in line with the EU. End quote. In Switzerland, first pilot projects under real conditions started in 2018. In 2019, Swisscom is expected to roll out to 60 towns with operating 5G networks, compared to only 6 at the end of 2018. So is all great with this 5G technology? As you can imagine, building a 5G network is not an easy task, and a regulated one as well. Because of the frequency spectrum that 5G operates in, its signal can only travel roughly 300 meters before it loses its magical abilities, compared to around 10 kilometers that 4G was able to travel. 5G in its current state is also unable to penetrate walls and is severely impacted by bad weather conditions. This means that there must be many more 5G transmitters than there are 4G transmitters today, and that such transmitters needed to be installed every couple of 100 meters. On the positive side, this allows for a much higher density of connected devices within a given area, which is a big plus for the age of the Internet of Things, connected cars, and all of that. With a tightly knit 5G network, 1 million devices can be connected in an area of 1 square kilometer, while 4G is only able to handle this amount of devices in a much larger area of 500 square kilometers. On the negative, or at least skeptical side, you might be concerned what all these transmitters and frequencies will do to your health. I quote, "The International Society of Doctors for the Environment has argued that 5G's higher frequency and shorter wavelength means it's more likely to penetrate cells in the body, and that further research should be done before it's rolled out. A city council near San Francisco voted to block deployment of 5G towers over health risks." End quote. And also in Switzerland, there are critical voices. I quote again, "Peter Kählin, president of the Basel-based Doctors for Environmental Protection Group, is warning that 5G uses very short waves, which will be absorbed by the skin. He adds, the skin is already exposed to harmful effects of ultraviolet radiation. 5G could present an extra cancer risk." End quote. However, others argue that, quote, "there is little evidence of any ill effects from using 5G." End quote. In addition, one ought to be really careful with who you trust to build and supply components for a nation's 5G network when considering how absolutely critical this infrastructure will be in the future. Building a vulnerable 5G infrastructure will also make its nation vulnerable beyond imagination. It's along these lines where there's already a conflict going on between several countries like the US, UK, or Australia, and the Chinese technology provider Huawei, who is a supplier for 5G technology. So, 5G is a good topic up for debate. With so much at stake in terms of business deals and money to be made and critical infrastructure to be built, you can imagine that there will be a lot of lobbying going on in the coming years in regards to 5G, and I believe especially in 2019. So I'd like to encourage you to keep your eyes and ears open and be sensitive towards public and closed doors debate regarding the connectivity standard of the future. Some will say that 5G is inevitable and necessary to stay competitive and innovative. Others will raise voices of caution. So, who's right? Once more, we will have a situation where technology will be highly political, as it should be. and citizens should adapt to the increased importance of technological literacy, since technology shapes our lives. Thank you very much, dear listeners, for your attention. This has been the executive briefing on the technology of 5G. If you like those kind of executive briefings and other content, feel free to join the Sparkr Newsletter to get carefully selected tech and innovation updates like these ones, sent right to your inbox. And for those of you who would like to see the sources I quoted to write this executive briefing, just visit sparkr.ch/blog. That's sparkr.ch/blog. And there you will find the executive briefing about 5G. With that, I wish you a great week and lots of success with all your exciting projects. Hear you soon.